Introduction to the novel. The English Teacher is a novel written by K Narayan. It was published in the year of 1945. It was published after Swami and Friends, 1935, and The Bachelor of Arts, 1937. The novel is dedicated to Narayan's wife Rajam. It is an autobiographical novel with his deepest of his feelings. It tells us the story of the experiences in the life of Krishna, an English lecturer turned teacher, and his quest towards achieving inner peace and self-development. This novel has 8 chapters. Chapter 1. Krishna is the main character of the present novel. He is a lecturer of English in Albert Mission College, Malgudi, where he has studied as a student earlier. He feels his routine work mechanical and boring. He is amused when the principal, Mr. Brown, asks to maintain purity and perfection in the language. Brown gets angry when the students adopt American spellings, especially when a spelling, honors, is written as honors. Even his HOD and former teacher Gajapati sides with Brown. Krishna discusses this in the hostel and complains that the English department existed solely for dotting the I's and crossing the T's. He thinks he is sticking to it only because of ₹100 salary a month. Krishna decides to improve himself and goes for a walk early in the morning. He decides to write poetry. He dreams of becoming a famous poet one day. He starts working on the idea then to mug himself and to make his students mug up to do well in the examinations. Chapter 2. The second chapter deals with the story of setting up the house. He receives a letter from his father informing him that he should now start setting up his house with his wife and daughter and leave the college hostel. He goes out hunting for a house. When he finds one, he moves out of the hostel. His mother, his wife and the child arrive and he starts his own household. His mother trains Krishna's wife Sushila in all household matters and leaves after 2 months. A period of domestic bliss starts. Sushila waits for him while he returns from college and serves him coffee and snacks. While she is busy preparing dinner, Krishna plays with the child and looks after her. Now Sushila is a responsible housewife. She is a ruthless accountant who tracks all the expenses. They argue in keeping accounts and managing their monthly provisions, leading to minor disturbances. His mother sends an old lady from the village to help her. They feel her as an extra burden. Finally, they accept the lady. Sushila encourages Krishna to write poetry. But he tries to reproduce Wordsworth's lines, "She was a phantom of delight," to please and impress her. She accuses him of copying and urges him to be original. Their first serious quarrel is caused by Sushila's selling of Krishna's old alarm clock along with his old papers. They refuse to talk to each other for 48 hours. Both of them feel sorry for it. Krishna first breaks the ice by taking her to a film. They decide not to quarrel in future as it affects a child's health. Chapter 3. This chapter deals with the story of their last days of happiness. Krishna is happy when on the occasion of the child's 3rd birthday, his father offers him a loan to buy his own house in Malgudi. The couple start discussing. So, on a Sunday morning they set out to inspect the various houses on offer in Lawley Extension through Krishna's colleague Sastri, the logic lecturer. Sushila looks great in her favorite indigo sari and the fragrance of jasmine. But before going there, Krishna takes her to Bombay Ananda Bhavan for breakfast. They inspect a number of houses in Lawley Extension and finally select one named Jasmine Home as their future abode. As Krishna is discussing the price and other details with Sastri and the building contractor, Sushila walks into a filthy lavatory in the back of the house and locks herself in. Krishna kicks open the door and when Sushila comes out she appears disturbed. The filth inside the lavatory has nauseated her and a fly has sat on her lips and bites her. But she feels better as they visit a nearly temple. Feeling uneasy, Sushila lies down and unable to eat as she recalls her experience in lavatory. She is bedsick for the next 4 days. Krishna goes to Dr. Shankar of Krishna Medical Hall. But his medicines have no effect. Initially he diagnoses her illness as malaria but later as typhoid. Later Dr. Shankar has her examined by a doctor from Madras. But it is too late now. Sushila dies, leaving behind a blind, dumb and dazed Krishna and the child. She is cremated on the banks of Sarayu beyond Nalapar's grove. The bliss comes to an end. Chapter 4. The fourth chapter talks about the Krishna's loneliness after the death of his beloved wife. Krishna feels life empty, the only relief being his child Leela. He decides to bring her up himself, which is his sole goal now. His mother occasionally comes to stay with him to help him bring up the child. He loses whatever little interest he has in his college work. He refuses to marry again. He locks up Sushila's room. He reads bedtime stories to Leela and this keeps him occupied. Chapter 5. This chapter discusses how Krishna communicates with his dead wife. One day, a boy comes to see him as finishes his work in college. And he hands over a note from his father to Krishna. It contains a message from his dead wife whose spirit has been trying to communicate. Krishna accompanies the boy to his house to meet a peasant. That mystic takes him to a temple near a pond, tells him about he being chosen to act as the medium between Krishna and his wife's spirit. The man takes out a notebook and his pencil automatically moves over the paper trying to receive a message from Sushila for her husband. After a false start, he succeeds. Sushila tells him that she is quite happy in the other region and she wants him to be calm and relaxed in life. He should stop worrying about the child who is quite happy. Krishna is elated. She asks him to come there every Wednesday for these sittings, which Krishna agrees. This episode brings him a glimpse of eternal peace. Gradually Sushila's spirit starts communicating with Krishna. She advises Krishna to put the child in school. Krishna finds out that the child has already been going to a nearby school run by an eccentric headmaster who has devoted his life to this cause. He meets the man and is impressed by his dedication and devotion. He continues his Wednesday sittings. She has evolved spiritually and is always at his side. She asks Krishna to improve his sensibilities, so that will be able to see her. Chapter 6. The sixth chapter is about Leela's school and hum. Krishna decides to spend the next Sunday with Leela but learns that there are no Sundays in her school. When he visits the school he finds it in full life. The headmaster introduces his school to Krishna. He says, he is trying a new experiment in education which should aim at shaping the mind and character of students with only shed, mats and open air. Krishna is impressed with this eccentric-looking man and his ideals about education. The headmaster lives in a dirty, neglected part of the town. His wife is a virago and his children are wild. The wife always quarrels with her husband. The promised cat for Leela is not found and the hum returns to Krishna's home. They go for a walk on the riverside. The headmaster tells Krishna his miserable story of his family life. He has found peace in trying a new system of education in which the children are free to pursue their hobbies and interests. It makes them wholesome beings. Hum also tells of his nearing predicted death. Chapter 7. At last Krishna directly contacts with his wife. Krishna's sittings with the medium are disrupted due to mystic's illness or travels. Then they try sittings in absentia at fixed times and the medium conveys it through letters to Krishna. Eventually he succeeds in directly communicating with Sushila's spirit. This gives inexplicable satisfaction to both of them. Sushila assures him that she is always with him happily and she wants Krishna to be happy, calm and relaxed for her sake. She assures him that she is watching everything. One night the headmaster visits Krishna. He says that his end has come as predicted by the astrologer and he wants Krishna to take charge of his school. His life has gone on strictly as predicted by the astrologer and he may not see the sunrise. But when the next morning Krishna goes to the headmaster's house, his wife starts wailing loudly and attracts crowd. Just then the headmaster appears. His wife and children beg sorry. He gives up his family life and stays in the school happily in the company of small children. Krishna's mother comes to visit him and the child. Krishna notices the ivory sandalwood with her box that Sushila has mentioned. He takes the box but he fails to unearth the bundle of 14 letters. Leela goes with her grandmother to the village. Krishna visits her on the weekends and gradually comes to accept the loneliness of his own existence. He is happy that his child is being looked after and educated by both her grandfathers, so he has nothing much to worry about in life. Chapter 8. In the last chapter, Krishna resigns and reassigns. Since he is at peace with himself now, Krishna makes up his mind to give up his job in Albert Mission College. The principal asks him to reconsider his decision, but Krishna is determined. He is given a farewell at everyone calls him an uncompromising idealist at the function held in his honor. But Krishna tells them that he is no idealist, he is going to do what he likes to do, devote his time and energies to the education of children in the HM school. Krishna gives up the high-paid job and chooses to get a lesser salary of 25 rupees a month. But Krishna is now calm and relaxed. This is unparalleled joy. Krishna goes to home and he has direct communion with the spirit of his dead wife at night. He is at peace with himself at last. He finally attains rare and immutable joy. Theme of love. Krishna eagerly waits for the arrival of his love. He is thrilled at the happy domesticity of life with his child and wife. Nearly half the novel focuses on the mundane joy of his day-to-day experiences with his family. Krishna is devastated by her loss, but Krishna's journey for self-enlightenment, with the stranger acting as a medium to Sushila in the spiritual world and eventually learning to connect with her on his own, ending the story itself, with the quote that he felt a moment of rare, immutable joy and grateful to life and death. Krishna thus undertakes an emotional, intellectual and spiritual journey to come to terms with the irreparable loss. The English teacher is the tale of love, the saga of loving someone so dearly. It is exclusively a love story, but interestingly different from the love stories one reads. Thank you.